What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Corvette Weekly. Welcome back to the show that is everything and anything Corvette related. And that is exactly what we're going to discuss here tonight, is everything and anything Corvette related. So I like it. 10-second Z06 right off the bat. He's asking for those thumbs up. So let's smash the thumbs ups, guys. Let's make this a easy to 100 at 8 o'clock kind of live. Now, obviously, if you have a keen eye, you're going to notice I'm not at my normal location. This is, in fact, the new house. We just officially moved in today. And I did my best to not make it a Monday, and it ended up being a Monday anyway. So here it is. This is the new house. This is not where I'm going to normally do my live from, but my computer area is still being set up. So this is what we get for today. Hopefully by next week, it's more horsepower obsessed, if you know what I mean. So anyway, for today, guys, this is the new location. It's been a really, really long day, but I still, like I said, unless I'm dead or dying, I'm gonna do these live videos because I really like to, spend the time with you guys. I like to discuss the Corvette stuff. I like talking about this stuff as much as you guys do. So, anyway, yeah, I like, who was it? Engineer Insanity says, let's get 100 thumbs ups before Justin joins. That would have been really cool. I wonder how close we are to that. Let's see. That would have been really awesome if I would have joined and there's already 100 thumbs ups. Maybe one of these days. Let's see where we're at with it. We got about 100 people watching. And thumbs ups show 21. We can do better than that, guys. Let's get to 100 by 8 o'clock. That's 22 minutes. 22 minutes to get about 75 more thumbs ups. You can definitely do it. I have faith in you guys. Anyway, we got a lot to discuss tonight. And as usual, like I told you, this particular month is going to be completely sponsored by National Corvette Museum Insurance, NCM Insurance, as well as Scrape Armor. So Scrape Armor is, again, the sponsor for tonight's video. They are offering up, again, a set of their radiator grill guards for any of the C8 Corvettes. So if you have a Stingray, a Z06, an E-Ray, a ZR1, even a Grand Sport, if you have one of those coming very soon, they kind of already have a package for that. You would just get the ZR1, or I'm sorry, the Z06 set, and then just not use the center until they officially have a Grand Sport set. But it's going to be the same. So as usual, guys, $10 is an entry, $50 or more is double entries. And yeah, so if you want to get in on this, Charles already won, and I think it was Paul won the first set. So the only heavy hitter left that I can think of off the top of my head, I guess, is Jay Brazelton. So I know he was interested in a set. Other than him, he's typically one that throws a good bit of money to this stuff, and I'm not sure if he's on. I don't think I saw his name in here yet. So if he's not on, guys, tonight's your night. You can get these Scrape Armor grill guards, and these are the ones to get. If you have a C8 Corvette, these are the ones you want. And like I said, it can go for the front grills, side grills. If they make it for the C8, you can choose whichever one you want. So let's get those entries going really quickly tonight. So like I said, this is the last time these are going to be offered on the channel for, at least for this particular month. This is the last Monday night for them. So let's see what questions we have here. It's House and Horsepower Obsessed Power Hour on HGTV. Man, that actually sounds like something that would be legit. I should actually reach out to HGTV and see if they would want to do. Yeah. ZR1 Mark says those 50,000 square feet homes are hard to move into. You would know, Mark. You would know. This is the new house. If you guys are just now joining, this is the new house. We just moved in today. So this little backdrop behind me is the nicest thing we have set up in here so far. That's the only reason I'm not in the computer room yet. Let's see. Yes, sir. New house for sure. That's why I was running behind, Ricky. But I can always count on you to keep me on time, you know? Keith French says we want to see the garage. The garage is the least set up room in the house currently. So I'm not going to show that just yet. However, I did make a video in there yesterday that will be coming out here shortly to show you what the garage looks like before I start doing anything, because there is a lot of stuff I want to do to the garage and a lot of stuff that's going to basically move everything in the right direction. And it's going to be kind of a series of everything I'm doing. So I want you guys to see it as it progresses versus just, already done like it was on my current garage. What's up, Aaron? AARPM. Again, guys, it looks like we just got an entry from Kevin. Let's see which Kevin, because apparently we have 3 Kevins that watch this on a regular basis. Kevin Horan. All right, so Kevin Horan is in for 10 entries, and Sean McDonald is in for 1 entry. So let me get you guys entered in there real quick, but let's keep the entries going, guys. Like I said, this is the last night for this, so get these while you can, because like I said, you're going to get them a lot cheaper than you can pretty much anywhere else. If you guys have seen them, they're fantastic pieces, but at the same time, I don't pretend to not see that they are expensive. So yeah, you can get them cheaper here. Professor Corvette says exactly what I said a couple times. Said, looks like your new garage came with a nice house. I said, I bought a garage with a house attached, not the other way around. Yeah, and that's it. Bill says, all right, everybody, Justin needs 200 plus thumbs ups. He needs to fill those empty cupboards and put food in his refrigerator. All we have here currently is cat food. Me and my wife have been living on that for the last week. No, I'm just joking. But I would appreciate some thumbs ups, and those are free, guys. Those are free. Totally free. It helps the channel out a lot. So let's do that and get those entries in to make sure that you are getting entered for the Scrape Armor Grill Guards. Let's just keep rolling with those tonight. And before we get too much into anything else, I do want to mention again, like I said, NCM Insurance is the sponsor for the channel, and they will be for almost a full year. So if you guys haven't checked out NCM Insurance, please do. Like I told you before, the quote is free. If you go to ncminsurance.com and just click on Get a Quote, and then go through that information there, put in your car info, and when it asks you how you heard about us, just put in HPO26. That's going to help out the channel. That's going to help them know where you came from, and make sure, obviously, that they work with you in a Corvette first kind of fashion, we'll say. But either way, HPO26 will let them know what's going on. And like I said, free quote, no obligations. You put in your information here. And if you have a car that is super high end that you only drive on the weekends or something like that, this is going to allow you to kind of set your own price for it as well. So if something were to happen to that car, you will get paid out what you guys have discussed and agreed upon versus just getting the Blue Book value. So really, really an interesting approach to your typical insurance policy. And honestly, you're going to find out here shortly, probably later this week, maybe early next week, I have a really personal story about NCM Insurance that I'm going to share coming up very soon that you guys are going to really love. So really, really good thing. Go check them out. Just make sure you put in that HPO26. That's going to help out everybody, here and over at NCM Insurance. So anyway, with all that said, I am now going to bring on everybody's favorite Joeler, and we have corrected his name on the screen. So it now is exactly what you guys voted on last week. It is spelled without a dash. So I'm going to bring on Joeler. He's going to talk a little bit about our partnership with Criswell, of course, and he's going to fill us all in on the HPO Vet Exchange. So Joe, if you want to take it away, have fun.
Sure. Hi, everybody. And hey, Justin, congratulations to you and your wife on the new house. It looks awesome. And hopefully you received our welcome gift, which was the long-awaited 92 millimeter throttle body that you said you wanted to just be able to hang on your wall. So there you go. In future episodes, we'll be looking for that hanging on the garage wall or wherever you think is actually appropriate. So congrats, welcome, and we know you're going to have a great time in the new house.
Thank you.
I also want to thank everybody for basically solving my identity crisis. I wasn't sure if I was Joe-Ler or Joeler, but thanks to all of you now, and as you can see on the screen, we have rectified my identity crisis, and I now feel much more in control as Joeler. So this week, what I wanted to do was touch on a featured car for this week. The beautiful red mist Z06 that we had last week is sold as of yesterday. somebody got a really, really nice Father's Day present. Unfortunately, it wasn't me, but I'm perfectly okay with the Seawolf Z06 and ZR1 that I do have. So this week, this is a car that Justin and I saw, and hopefully a lot of you did at the meet. And we're both kind of surprised, frankly, that it's here still, but it is a really, really nice 26 Z06 convertible 2LZ in Hysteria Purple. It has the really nice natural interior. It has the Spider bronze aluminum wheels that are a $4,150 option. Has the GT2 seats. It has the engine appearance package, so you do actually have the clear window when the top is halfway down. You can see that beautiful engine. It does have the matching seat belts to the natural interior, so that looks real good. The options in total are $10,135. The sticker on this car is $145,730, and we now can bring you $15,573 off sticker, special only HPO exchange price. So if you are in the market or you know anybody, there are only a handful of Z06s, 2026s left, at the dealership. This is certainly an attractive one. So it probably won't last too much longer at that price point. So again, the magic number is 130, 157 for a sticker price car. That is 145, 730. And a special thanks to Griswold, our partner sponsor of HPO Vet Exchange, as well as another great sponsor of the channel. I also did want to just highlight, if you have not, and I mentioned this last week, but if you still have not had a chance to look at the great video Justin did on the Solar 92 millimeter throttle bodies, lots of good information in there. And we have some folks in my various Corvette clubs that have been inquiring and actually have ordered them. But what's most fascinating to me, even being affiliated with them, were some of the numbers on the dyno sheet. I don't think any of us expected a 46 horsepower and 32 torque gain at about 6,250 RPMs, well below redline at 8,400, where it made 22 horsepower and 16 torque. To pick up that much differential sort of in a much lower, midpoint, if you will, is pretty impressive. And then even down at, that acceleration point of about 3,500 RPMs, you will gain 30 torque and 20 horsepower. So both of those two numbers are frankly about the same in terms of torque, better than even wide open throttle. So you've got really three really nice points on the curve. It makes power at every point across the curve, but those are three really significant areas where the new 92 millimeters shine. They're available in polish, as you know, as well as the black. So check them out if you haven't. If you have not upgraded your Z06 yet from the OEM, and as I like to say, somewhat oversized 87 millimeters, you can either go 91s or 92s. But I think, as Justin says, if 92s are available, why go 91s? Bigger is always better.
There you go.
And then one other thing I just wanted to share is, again, mark your calendars if you haven't already. September 20th, Justin is going to be at a very special car show, New Jersey Car Club, Natural Glass Corvette Association's car show at the Community College of Morris. That's in Randolph, New Jersey. Joler with the new spelling will be there as well, joining. We'll have both the Seawolves, unless Justin has something new by then. Who knows, knowing Justin. And that's it for this week. But thanks, everybody, and thanks for the identity clarity. I'm feeling a lot better. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Joe. All right, guys. So as you heard there, we talked a little bit about the car shows coming up. Last week, David and I are going to be putting on a show somewhere near the end of September, possibly the beginning of October. We're still working out the dates on that. I'm going to be at the show with Joler September 20th, and I'm also going to be at Corvette Invasion July 20th, I believe it is. And that's in Texas. So if you guys want to be at any one of those, and then of course you got Corvettes at Carlisle in there as well. So there's 4 shows coming up that I'm going to be a part of. If you want to meet, if you want to see the car, if you want to show me your car. I'll be at any of these events. You can definitely come out, check us out, say hi, meet us in person. We love talking to you guys. Like I said, one of the biggest reasons I love doing these live videos so much is because I really do enjoy talking about Corvettes. I mean, it doesn't matter who. When we moved into this new house, the one of the younger kids across the street came over and was talking to me for about 2 hours in the garage about my ZR1. So really, I'm completely serious whenever I say I will talk about Corvettes to anybody who will listen. So if you guys want to listen about it, and it seems like the majority of you do, let's talk. I mean, I'm totally down for that. So, Clay, I know obviously you live in Texas, so you'll probably be at the Corvette Invasion. But one thing I did want to mention real quick, I don't know if Joe, he usually sticks around and watches the comments, but Darren Burnett on here saying that Tegan has been really great and has taken care of him at the shop that he owns. Orders placed and received promptly, and we just got the point of sale items for our retail sales area. So thank you to both. Joe, if you're still listening, that's a huge compliment, obviously, for you guys. And really exactly my experience with the whole solar team is that everybody seems to really be on the ball. Anytime I order anything, whether it's for me or for subscribers / customers of mine for my website, they get it in a really timely manner. So really big thumbs up to solar all around, always. And speaking of thumbs ups, we have 120 people in here watching and only 66 likes, guys. So we got 7 more minutes to hit 34 more likes. Let's hit 100 by 8 o'clock, 7 minutes. Smash that thumbs up. We got a ton of stuff to talk about. And even better than that, we have a scrape armor radiator grill set up to give away for whatever C8 Corvette you have. So whether it's the front grill guards or the side radiator guards, you let me know if you win. So Mark, ZR1 Mark, I got him in. He just donated $200, so he is now in for 40 entries for the radiator grill guards. So he's the guy to beat at this point, guys. Mark, always appreciate it. He's a big supporter of the channel as well. But yeah, let's see. Cameron says, for anyone launching from DFW for the Invasion, we will plan a meet up and ride down together. I like it. So Cameron is the guy to talk to if you guys are in that area, if you want to drive down together. That would be Clay is definitely in the area. So Clay, if you're going to drive down, you might want to talk to Cameron here. That'd be a pretty cool thing. Wheeler says, yeah, Tegan was legendary on getting me expedited when the 92s first came out. Yep, I remember that. Yep, and Joe, there he is. So Joe, in typical Joe fashion, he is a supporter of the channel, and he is still watching, and he said, thanks for the kind words, and he'll let Tegan know. So, yeah. Awesome. Clay will be there. He said he'll see us there. So if you guys haven't met me, if you haven't met Joeler, or I'm sorry, not Joeler. Joeler, I don't think will be there. But if you haven't met me or Clay, Texas Clay here, you come down and check us out. You can actually meet both of us. And you're going to meet a ton of the subscribers too. A lot of the subscribers go to these events. I've heard Corvette Invasion is basically a slightly smaller version of Corvettes at Carlisle that takes place in Texas. So if you're near that area, if you're closer to that area, I should say, than you are Carlisle, Pennsylvania, then head out there. We'll all be there. Oh, okay, Cameron, you already plan to go together. All right, gotcha. So, all right, so we're getting some more entries in here now for the grill guards. Let's see what we got. We got Adam Davis is in for an entry. Let me get you on there. So Adam Davis in for an entry, and somebody else entered too. We got Kevin Reynolds in. Ooh, Kevin Reynolds is in now for the lead. Kevin Reynolds is in for 285, so he is going to be in for, that's 40, 60, 70. So he's in for 70 entries. So Mark was leading the pack. Now Kevin Reynolds just took it over. All right, so so far I got everybody accounted for here. So really appreciate the support as always, guys. But obviously you're getting something pretty cool. Well, potentially you're getting something pretty cool for helping out the channel as well. Yeah, Professor Corvette, that kind of leads us into our first topic of the night. He says, so did everyone see that they're coming out with a Stingray High Country to make Corvette consistent with the rest of the Chevrolet model line? That's going to lead us into our first little bit of conversation about some things, because one of the big things that I just recently saw is that the 2027 Silverados have finally changed their engine sizes. Now, if you guys knew this was coming because of the cylinder deactivation issue that they were having, they wanted to move away from the 6.2s because of that kind of problem that they were having. And obviously, with Corvette going to the 6.7, a lot of people were speculating that the Silverado was going to use that same block and go with a 6.7 as well. However, they actually went with a slightly smaller 6.6-liter. So I'm trying to find that part in the article here. So it was right around in here. Yeah, so it was available in 5.3 and 6.2, and it is now 5.7 and 6.6. So not very much different, but of course still different. So the Corvette, the Stingray, and the Grand Sport now will be the two kind of family members, we'll say, that have the largest engine offered currently. So kind of cool if you're the kind of guy that doesn't like to see Corvette sharing stuff with the other cars in the lineup, which I'm kind of in that crowd, to be honest with you. The Corvette to me has always been something more than just a Chevrolet. So it's nice to see Corvette getting its own kind of special treatment. So if you agree, then I'm sure you can understand what I'm saying. But either way, definitely pretty cool. Clay says Bastrop is hot. Come prepared for the heat, and that's what I've heard. And it's funny because every August when they have Corvettes at Carlisle, I swear it is the hottest week of the entire year every year. And now you're telling me that Texas's version of Corvettes at Carlisle is also the hottest of the year. So yeah, there's that. That's a great question, Engineered Insanity. I didn't actually read that to see if the truck block was iron. I obviously know that the Corvette block is not iron. Let me see if I can figure that out real quick, if that says anywhere in here. I just search for iron. I'm not seeing iron in there, so I'm going to say probably no. It looks like nobody's specifically spelling out that it's iron, so it's probably not. That would have been pretty cool though, because that's the kind of thing that will end up in a Corvette at some point with a gigantic amount of boost or something. But in this situation, it's a no. All right, so where are we at with thumbs ups here, guys? We got 125 people watching, 76 thumbs ups. Come on, guys, let's smash those thumbs ups. Let's get to 100 here within the next couple minutes. It would be really cool. If you're just now joining, make sure you are getting entered in on the Scrape Armor Radiator Grill Guard giveaway if you want to get a set for your C8 Corvette, whether it's front grills, side intake grills, it doesn't matter. If they make it, you can get it. And yeah, Steven, thanks for bringing that up. The ZR1X just absolutely tearing up Pikes Peak. And this kind of hits home for me because I've driven on Pikes Peak before in a C8. It was a Stingray, but it was still a really interesting route. So we drove, I believe the last 7 miles was closed off because there was literally snow up there. When we started on Pikes Peak, it was like 70 some degrees. And by the time we got up to the top, the last 7 miles were closed off because the roads were covered in snow. That's how crazy that road gets. But the ZR1X goes up it fast, fast, fast. Everything the ZR1X does is fast, but this is even somehow faster. So yeah, Mark, I got you in for another 200. Mark's looking to win this thing, guys. So Mark is now in at 80 entries. So he moved ahead of Kevin Reynolds at 70. And I got another entry here from Adam Davis is in for another entry. So he's in for 2. And then we had one more from James. I got you in for, it looks like 40. James is in for, that's going to give you 15 entries. So I got everybody so far accounted for. Again, guys, really appreciate it. You're all awesome, of course. Yeah, okay. I got everybody accounted for so far. So again, guys, let's see where we're at with thumbs ups. We got 122 people watching, 83 thumbs ups. Come on, guys. Let's smash those thumbs ups. It really helps, like I said. What else do we got? What else do we got here? Okay, so comments. Sean says, what is your Zelle tag? That's a great question. I tried your email and it's a no-go. It is actually my email, but you have to actually put the dots in there. So it's horse.power.obsessed@gmail.com. That will get you right to my Zelle. And I appreciate anybody who's using the Zelle. I really appreciate that. That's a guaranteed way I get 100% of those profits, whereas Venmo will take out some stuff. YouTube takes out a ridiculous amount. But if you can't use that, I understand. It's use whatever you can use. I'm not going to tell you what you have to do, but at the same time, Zelle is the best one for me. Professor Corvette says, I thought start-stop was no longer a thing since the EPA canceled the regulatory incentive. I thought the same thing, but I think what happened is, like with the Grand Sport and the 6.7-liter engine in general, the development of all that was done well before that was canceled, I'm pretty sure. So that's probably why. Lewis says he agrees with Joeler. It's probably the dumbest thing to ever end up on a sports car. I totally agree. On a regular car, it makes sense to some degree, but when you're putting it in something with even 500 plus horsepower, do we really need that? The answer is no. Justin asks, is the C701 going to be at Carlisle? Yes, it is. 100% I'm bringing it this time. Kevin says, all right, let's spin the wheel. Yeah. If we ended it right now, we probably would have, it would be definitely Kevin and Mark would be the two leaders of the pack. So let me see. I think we just got another one. Who was that? Sean McDonald is in for an entry. So I'll get you in there as well, Sean. So, never mind, it just worked. All right, Sean, I got you in there. I wasn't sure if that was you or not, but Professor Corvette says, this is a great question. Can we speculate on when the 27 build and price tool will come online for the rest of the Corvette models? I'll guess July 13th. This is a great question because I don't think it has ever taken this long before. I think we are way further into the year than that I can recall at least, ever seeing before. I think it's interesting that Chevy brought it out just for the Grand Sport, and that's it. It's not even the Grand Sport X, it's just the Grand Sport. It's interesting that they wouldn't have just done it all at the same time. But again, guys, smash the thumbs up button if you're liking the content so far. We're going to talk a lot about some stuff here in a second. We already discussed the Silverado is getting a new engine, and it's going to be actually a little bit smaller than the current Stingray / Grand Sport 6.7. The Silverados are going to get a 6.6-liter block. So it's going to be the Corvette that wins the biggest engine in the family. So that's pretty cool. Joe asks, where is the Z06X? The Z06 are slower than the GSX. So this is an interesting topic I see come up on Facebook, the Facebook groups a lot, especially. This statement is not 100% accurate. So in a straight line, yes, the GSX will be faster than the Z06, but the Z06 is very purpose-built for track performance. The Grand Sport X is not. As of now, with the GSX, you can't even opt to have that car have track aero. So GM is marketing the Grand Sport X as not a track killer the way the Z06 is being marketed. So keep that in mind. The Z06 will be slower in a straight line. Of course, the GSX is all-wheel drive. It's going to launch better. But the Z06 is purpose-built for the track. And on a track, it will decimate the Grand Sport X in stock versus stock form. These cars, I think GM has done a really good job at distinguishing or differentiating these cars based on what they do best. So the Z06 is a track car. The E-Ray was a great drag strip car. The Grand Sport X is going to be a great drag strip car. The Grand Sport without the X is going to be a good, more entry-level track car. Just like the Stingray. You're going to get a wide body look though, but still and more entry-level track experience. If you want to go baller, you get the ZR1, and then you are, an even more dedicated. Well, I don't want to say dedicated because the ZR1 is a great track car, but it's not really dedicated like the Z06 is. So, and then the ZR1X, which is still more built, in my opinion, for the drag strip, but can obviously handle its own on the track too. So I think GM did a pretty good job at differentiating these models enough that no one model outshines the previous, if that makes sense. I think they did a good job this time around. ZR1 Mark says, are the 27 ZR1s going to have restraints or constraints on the ZTK package? So far, they haven't had there are constraints, but they're, we'll say, wider open than they have been in the 26 model year. So it's looking like it's trending up as availability, at least. Let's hope so, but we'll see. All right, guys, we are at 90 likes. Let's keep going with the thumbs ups. Yeah, Bill says the Grand Sport X is only there to replace the current E-Ray. It will basically be a Stingray with a hybrid front motor. That's pretty much it. So not that that's a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. It's just, it's not there to outshine the Z06. That was never the case, even with the E-Ray. That was never the story. But it has its own place in the lineup. Yeah, they have been making the 6.6 and the 2500, but that is is that a diesel? I'm pretty sure that's a diesel engine, but if it's not, then it's a different 6.6, we'll say. Professor Corvette says Chevrolet marketing might be worried that putting 6.7 on the sides of tens of thousands of Silverados would be too distracting to passing drivers. I actually thought I thought about that too, because those same kind of things, they don't put those on Corvettes, so it doesn't matter if it's a 6.7. But on the Silverado, it always has a silver badge on it that says what size the engine is. So that's kind of funny. Okay, no, that was a guess. All right, well, if I had to guess, it was a different architecture. Odds are good it's not the exact same 6.6. If based on what I've read, the new Silverado 6.6-liter engine is pretty much, it's very similar to the 6.7 that the Stingray is getting, only slightly smaller. So I would imagine, of course, it's not going to have your dry sump oil tanks and stuff like that, but it's more similar to that than probably the older architecture 6.6 you're talking about. Texas Clay, this is exactly why I've talked about this not making sense. So everybody knows the Z06 is a dedicated track car. GM has made this car to be a dedicated track car. If you make the Z06X, you are erasing what that X stands for. Yes, it's all-wheel drive. Now, all of a sudden, it's not really the dedicated track car anymore, but it's still a Z06, and they probably wouldn't have a Z07 package available for that Z06X. But then why call it a Z06? It's not a dedicated track car anymore. It gets so muddied and confusing. It just makes more sense to not have the Z06X. It really does. It makes more sense. Now, this is not me saying that it's not coming. This is me saying I hope it doesn't. I don't think that car makes sense with the way GM has set up their current performance lineup. I think it's really good right now. I think they have a really good grasp on what these cars do, what they do well, and what they don't do so well. And each car does something different well. So if the Z06X comes, it's going to completely upset everything that I think I know about this performance lineup. So we'll see. That's, again, not me saying it's not coming. This is me saying why I don't think it should. No, it's not. It's not that the ZR1's not a dedicated track car. The word dedicated is where you want to focus on. The Z06 is that dedicated track car, whereas the ZR1 is a track car, but it's not dedicated. It can do all kinds of things, whereas the Z06 is specifically good on the track. The ZR1 is just as good, if not better, on the track, but it's also good at other stuff too because it's so freaking fast, if that makes sense. There you go. Hot Rod Todd says, call it an EO6X. That would be a better way to do it because that would eliminate the Z06 problem, but then that's going to bring the problem of why the E-Ray didn't work back into the mix. So I do think if they make something that's like a Z06X, I do think they should not call it a Z06X. They could really call it anything but that. Even if it has the same power plant and, as the Z06 and the front motor from the Grand Sport X or Z01X, if they don't call it a Z06X, that would help have it make more sense to me. Since when does GM make sense? Steve Robertson, you read my mind. But at the same time, this is exactly why I don't think I shouldn't word it like this. I do think that they're going to bring a Z06X to market because it doesn't make sense and GM typically doesn't. So I'm telling you why the Z06X doesn't make sense, but GM doesn't care. If all they see is dollar signs, and honestly, that car would sell. It would absolutely move a lot of cars. So with all that said, if they do make it, Texas Clay hit it on the head. Odds are very good they're going to make a Z06X without any of the Z07 package track aero. What the heck's the point? You already have an engine in the new LS6 that's making 540 horsepower. Do we really need an engine that makes 130 more horsepower than that, and that's it? I mean, at that point, why wouldn't you just go for a ZR1X or whatever? I mean, we've had this conversation so many times. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but in my personal opinion, that car does not make sense in the lineup. Again, this is not me saying it's not coming because I bet you it does. GM likes to make money on things. That's a good point too. Engineered Insanity says having anything remotely green in a sports car's name is going to hurt sales, and you are 100% accurate. 97 thumbs ups, guys. Let's keep going with the thumbs ups. We got 140 people in here watching. We could easily have 140 thumbs ups if we started rocking these. This is what they look like. Smash that thumbs up. See, there it is. Scarlet Future says Z06X buyer here. And that's the thing, is not the majority of people that buy the Z06 don't use it as a track car. So with that said, they don't care if the Z06X is not going to have the same options as the Z06 with it being more of a dedicated track car. This is why GM would be absolutely fine putting the car out there and making their money on it. But at the same time, to me personally, I think that kind of starts to upset the performance lineup and it starts to make less sense. Let's see. Where are we? Did we get any more entries? Yes, we did. So Adam is in for another entry. Adam Davis is in. All right, and that's it. So we got one more entry from Adam. So far we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 entries with Mark leading the pack at 80 and Kevin right behind him at 70. So as always, guys, really appreciate the support. Someone's going to win a nice set of scrape armor radiator grill guards for less than you would buy them brand new for. Keep in mind, the cheapest set of radiator grill guards you can get from Scrape Armor right now is for the Stingray, and I believe those are $499. So that $500 right off the bat. And if you even throw $100 at this and you won, you're saving yourself $300 plus tax plus shipping. Or, I'm sorry, $400 plus tax plus shipping. So if you go with the grill guards for the Z06, I believe they're like $629 plus tax plus shipping. So you can save a good bit of money here by throwing some entries in here. We only have 7 entries. So your odds of winning are not that bad. That's true. So Steven says the all-wheel drive would fix the biggest issue with the Z06, which is the low torque. Again, low torque because of the flat plane crank engine leads you to staying in a higher gear at a, higher revving, point in that power curve. That's better for most tracks to live at a higher RPM. So I don't know. Some people, and I mean, Steven would know. He has a ZR1X. He obviously he's owned all these cars. So I'm going to have to take his word for it. But for me, again, it starts to upset what I understand about the performance lineup. I'm not saying it would be a bad car necessarily, but I'm just saying it just doesn't make sense to me. Professor Corvette says, why can't Motor Trend do better than 2.1 0 to 60 in a ZR1X, even after following all GM steps? Well, let's ask Steven. Steven has a ZR1X. It's the white one that I drove down at the bash. Steven, what is the best 0 to 60 time you've done on stock tires? So let's see what he says, Professor, because odds are I would put money on it. Steven's probably done better than a 2.1. Wheeler says, yep, I agree here too. Throttle bodies and Venturi are a great fix for lower torque on a Z06. Yes, they are. You will feel that immediately. If you guys remember, the stock Z06 that I dynoed was, I think, 412 torque. After my Venturi and all the stuff I threw at it, I was at almost 490. That's a pretty big jump, almost 80 torque with those mods. Engineered says, I wonder how the non-X Grand Sport will do against the Z06 at the drag strip. That's a good question. It'll probably be pretty close. If I had to guess, if I had to throw out a number right now, I bet you that goes between 10.5 and 10.8 on a quarter mile, the naturally aspirated Grand Sport. Z06 Hot Rod Todd says 535 horsepower will not beat 670 horsepower at the drag strip. No way. No, not just if you factor in those numbers, but the higher torque of the LS6 could give it a little bit of an edge. All right, let's see. 1% of the people track these cars, so let's focus on the 99. I agree. I agree that not many focus or not many track the car, but it still needs, in my opinion, it still needs to make sense. The Z06 is always the track car. So if you don't want a track car, you don't buy a Z06. I get that. But if you don't want a track car, then don't bring out a Z06X and sell it to non-track car people. That's the part that I can't wrap my head around. It doesn't matter to me if only 1% of those people buying that car are going to track them anyway. That doesn't matter, because I buy the track car every time. And I don't track my cars that often, but even when I'm just regular street driving them, I prefer the track setup of a track car. So that by itself would always push me towards the more track oriented car. Bill says, I love the electrified front axle, but we all know battery and electronic engine tech will change massively in the next 5 years, which means current will be obsolete. NA/gas engines will still exist. That's true. Yeah, you rev to peak much faster. Yeah. I mean, there's pros and cons on both sides, guys. I'm obviously a Z06 guy, so my biasness is going to lean a little more towards Z06. I'm not going to pretend that that's not the case here. I can appreciate both cars for what they are, but if you ever gave me the choice, here's a Grand Sport or a Z06, I'm taking the Z06 all day. Here's a Grand Sport X or a Z06, I'm taking the Z06 all day. Now, if you came at me with a Z06 and a Z06X and both had Z07 packages and somehow GM magically made them both the same weight, then I'm a little more conflicted. But keep that in mind. The Z06X is going to be about 250 to 300 pounds heavier right off the bat than the Z06 because of that hybrid all-wheel drive system. So again, if you're looking for that dedicated track car, you got 670 horsepower out of a flat plane crank and the lowest possible weight in doing so. The ZR1 weighs more. The ZR1X weighs even more. Again, the Z06X or the Z06 is your dedicated track car. Brandon Jensen says, Justin, Remind me of your Venmo for the drawing. It's just my name. It's just Horsepower Obsessed, all one word. If you want to do it in Venmo, Horsepower Obsessed. If you want to do it through Zelle, it's horse.power.obsessed@gmail.com. Yeah. Tom says most of the ZR1s aren't even driven. They just sit in a garage. ZR1X is even worse for the 50 people out there to have one, except for Steven, of course. Steven actually drives his. I know that. Justin says, have you had any paint chipping from your ZR1 style wing on your Z06? I've seen some OEM ZR1s with that issue. I've only seen one person with that issue, and I can't rule out user error on that. My ZR1 wing has never had any problems on my Z06. And the other ZR1 wing that's developed by RSC also does not have any problems. And that one has even higher downforce than my ZR1 wing. So I'm going to say no, but I actually was just talking to somebody about this earlier. If you are noticing that issue, I would take that wing off and put some sort of padding in between the base of the wing and the painted part of the bumper. And yeah, Mark says he drives the heck out of his ZR1, and all he has noticed is apparently some of the PPF looks like it got pushed a little bit. All right, so we just got another entry for the Scrape Armor Grill Guards. Brandon Jensen is in for 20 entries. Brandon Jensen, 20. All right, so we got 8 entries now currently, guys. That's pretty cool. I appreciate it. Let's see. See, Vet B96C says Z06 guys are butthurt about the GSX. I'm not butthurt in the slightest. I couldn't care less. The GSX is not going to be a dedicated track car. It's not going to beat the Z06 on the track. It will beat it 0 to 60, and it will beat it at the drag strip. That's fine. That's not what the Z06 was built for. I don't care if the car's faster 0 to 60 and at the drag strip. That's not why I bought the Z06. Fine by me. And honestly, I'm here to tell you, I hope GM does not make a Z06X. So if I was butthurt by the GSX, I would be telling you that they should make a Z06X. Yeah, KP, that's, if I didn't live where I live, if I lived in Florida, which I had contemplated many times, I would drive my Z06 year round, 100%. What's the top speed of the ZR1X? I'm pretty sure it's the same as the ZR1. It's 233, I'm relatively sure. Joey Cut says the claim is that the wing/bumper paint issue happens around 175 plus. Mark, I'm pretty sure, has gone faster than that in Mexico, of course, and he has not had that issue. So I don't think this is a widespread issue. And unfortunately, I only know of one person who has claimed this issue, and user error cannot be ruled out because that particular person had their wing on and off the car multiple times. ZR1 Mark says my butt has never even looked at a GSX. Yeah, I mean, everybody likes their own thing. I totally agree. You guys go buy your whatever it is you want to buy. I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be the guy that sits here and tells you what to buy. If you ask my opinion would be the Z06 over the Grand Sport and the Z06 over the Grand Sport X. I would say the ZR1 over the Z06 and the ZR1X over the Z06. But if you can't afford those, I think the Z06 is currently in the lineup, and not just the C8, the C7 and the C6 too, and the C5. The Z06 is always the best bang for the buck. You are getting the most car, the coolest looking car for that price. The ZR1 and the ZR1X are better cars in pretty much every way, except for sound. But they're a lot more expensive. So if you want a really cool car that you're going to absolutely love driving, the Z06 is the car for you every single time. Now, if you have different requirements than I do, and you're not asking my opinion, then you buy what you want to buy. But if you're going to ask my opinion, it's the Z06 all day, every day. For that price, the Z06 is the best car in the lineup. Professor Corvette You have literally deduced exactly what it means. He says, can someone define butt hurt? Should I take it at face value that it means your butt hurts? I'm going to let you take it at face value there because that is ultimately it. I'm sure there's more to it, and it probably gets very not PG related or rated. So we'll just leave it there. Vincent says, I live in the Keys, Monroe County, sheriffs everywhere, but I drive my Z06 hardtop convertible every day. I would too. 01 Mark says, Justin, I texted you a picture of my wing as it moved the PPF. Okay, let's check that out. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so this is actually not too bad, Mark. If this is all it does, I wouldn't worry about that in the slightest. I'm going to try to show it up on the screen here if I can. Do that. And let me grab this on the screen. All right, so here's what Mark just sent me. So if you guys are still worried about that ZR1 ZTK wing being a problem, this is what we got. So you got to zoom in to even see it, but it pushed his PPF a little bit back, but it's not chipping the paint. It's not doing anything like that. And even with that though, if you want to fix that problem, put in some sort of thicker foam or rubber pad between the wing and the bumper. And I bet you that fixes that problem. Now, again, I know people who have driven ZR1 X's especially incredibly fast, and they have not had problems like this. So I don't think this is a widespread issue. ZR1 Mark says, my butt does not hurt. I appreciate it. I can appreciate when someone's butt doesn't hurt. Let's see. What do we got here? Interesting you say this about the C5 through C8 generations. You had a C7 Z06 and moved to a ZR1. And that's exactly why I can tell you without a doubt the C7 Z06 is the better bang for the buck. Let me explain. So I did. I had a C7 Z06 and I traded it in on my C7 ZR1. At the time, it was a fantastic move because of what that car has appreciated to. So I paid $131,000 for my ZR1 ZTK 7-speed manual. That car's now worth well over $200,000. With that said, the best bang for the buck is still the C7 Z06, not the C7 ZR1. And the reason is, even if you talk about those cars at the time I bought it, I paid $131,000 for my ZR1. I paid $67,000 for my Z06. And you're on paper especially, you're talking about 100 less horsepower. So for $70,000 more, I got 100 horsepower. Does that make sense? Or does that make the C7 Z06 the best bang for the buck? Now, in this case, my Z06 that I have currently, I have a bunch of mods to it. And after my tune, I'm going to be sitting really pretty at a pretty nice number. And I'm going to prove this to everybody here very soon with a dyno. But ultimately, what that's going to lead me to is that for $100,000 more, that's what it would cost me from my Z06 to a ZR1, C8 ZR1. It's $100,000 more. I'm going to gain roughly 300 horsepower. Is 300 horsepower worth $100,000? Maybe, for the people who are crazy, or for those people who are, we'll call them horsepower obsessed. Yes, probably. But it still makes the Z06 the best bang for the buck in the lineup. In the C8, the C7, the C6, and the C5 lineup. All of them. The C6 or the Z06 is always the best bang for the buck. I'm not saying it's the best car in the lineup. I'm saying it's the cheapest, most fun car that also looks good, that handles well on the track. It's the cheapest one that does that in the lineup. It's always the best bang for the buck. Let's see. Yeah, and Hot Rod Todd said it was easy to add 100 horsepower to a C7Z. You add a pulley, E35, and a tune. And you're not spending 70 grand to do that. So again, best bang for the buck. Now, I got in early enough where I could get that car for 70,000 more than a Z06. You can't really do that now, especially if you want a manual. They're significantly more expensive than they were then. Anyway, guys, we got 160 people in here watching, 110 thumbs up, so let's keep rocking with the thumbs ups. It doesn't look like scrape armor, or wait, what's this? We did get another entry for, looks like Jeff. I got you in for 30. Jeff, you're in for 3 entries on that. That's Jeff Burnley. Okay, and did we get any other ones? I think that's it, but let me just make sure here. Yep, that's it. So again, guys, if you want to get in on this scrape armor radiator grill guard giveaway, this is your time to possibly win these for way less than they cost normally. Let's see. Professor says another vlog idea: drag race HPO Z06 versus ZR1 versus TRX versus stock C8 Z06. I do still want to get a stock C8 to kind of just do a quick pool against. But believe it or not, that's a little harder to do than you might think. Now, an event that David and I have coming up, we're hoping to host something at a drag strip where we could possibly do that. And I would like to see that. Smack Z28. If you're Adam Davis, I got you in for 3. But let me know if that's you or not. Justin says, heck yeah, good way to break that down. I'd agree to that. Yeah. And I mean, I know you had a C6 Z06 and you have a C6 ZR1 now. And it's really hard to refute. Or no, I'm sorry, you had just a C6. I don't think it was a Z06. But either way, if you had a C6 Z06 and a C6 ZR1, the ZR1 is the better car. Don't get me wrong, I know that. But for the price difference, is it that much better? And that's where the best bang for the buck always comes in. Sean, did I get you on there, Sean? Sean McDonald, yep. I have you in there for 3, Sean. All right, so is that you, Smack, Sean McDonald? Because I have you in there for 3. There we go. Engineered Insanity. That's great. He says we could do a C8 Z06 versus Fiero for the best GM mid-engine car ever. I don't know who would win that one. I mean, that's a total toss-up. Yeah, I thought that was a base. So you had a C6 base. It was modded, I know that, and then 2 C6 ZR1s. I remember that too. But like I said, the amount of money spent on those cars is where the best bang comes in my opinion. Professor Corvette says government should require manufacturers to state the bang for buck ratio on vehicle window stickers. Man, I'll tell you what, if they actually did that, it would have to say HPO certified beside it. All right, guys, we got 160 people in here watching, 112 thumbs up. Let's keep rolling the thumbs ups. And the scrape armor radiator grill guards, I'm going to be putting those names into the Wheel of Fortune here very soon. So if you want to win some scrape armor, this is the way to do it. There we go. D Hope says, I've owned both, and no, it's not worth the difference, especially now that the ZR1 is so expensive. A nice Z06 does the job. And I agree. I do agree with that. Now, the ZR1 is always very enticing, and it's a great car. I've driven 2 ZR1s and even 2 ZR1Xs. They're great cars. Don't get me wrong, they're fantastic. But are they worth that much money over the Z06? I mean, D Hope is saying no. I would personally say no, but me as a YouTuber would say abso-freaking-lutely. But it is a lot of money. It's literally $100,000 more just to get a ZR1 over my Z06. And that's if you can find it at MSRP. And if you factor in the fact that my ZR1 build, I'm leaving a bunch of stuff off of it so I can add it later just to make the bill as low as possible. So I don't know. Texas Clay says some Corey at Paragon make a good argument that Stingray is the best bang for the buck. Here's why I'm going to disagree with that. I know Corey knows his stuff. I'm not disagreeing with Corey specifically, but I'm going to disagree with the statement because he's not saying that the Stingray in stock form is the best bang for the buck. If you leave all these cars completely stock and you're a guy who worries about warranty and they're completely stock, you do not mod them at all. The Z06 is still the best bang for the buck. The Stingray is not it. The Grand Sport will not be it. The Grand Sport X would be as close to it as you could get, but still will not be it. So, no, I don't think the Stingray would be the best bang for the buck. It is a great car. It's a great platform to get and mod, especially now with the LT2 engine because you can tune them. But with the LS6, those are going to be non-tunable, at least initially. I don't know how quick that will change or if it will ever. But assuming it does, then those would be a great platform to mod. But if you want a totally stock car, which I know a lot of you guys do, and a lot of you guys want to keep them stock, a lot of you guys don't want to go crazy with the mods like I did, that's totally fine. And especially if you want to keep it stock, the Z06, best bang for the buck. If you want to go crazy with mods, then maybe the Z06 is not the best bang for you. Honestly, currently, I would say it's probably the E-Ray. And I know you guys, you think you know at least how I feel about the E-Ray. I think the E-Ray fits perfectly in the lineup, like I've said 100 times. And if you want to go crazy with power, the E-Ray is probably the car to do that with. That's a great point, Todd. The Stingray is probably the most mod friendly, and Paragon likes that for a very obvious reason. So they like to sell parts. They like to mod these cars. They like to drive them on the track. So sure, I would totally agree with that. Mod friendly is a great way to put that. Maximus says, have you heard of the service light issue with the HTCs? If so, has GM come out with a software or hardware fix for it? I have not heard of the service light. Are you referring to a check engine light or is a light specifically to the convertible top is what I'm guessing. Let me know. Engineer Insanity. Those are words right out of my mouth. The E-Ray needed to be $20,000 cheaper. If it had come out and it was $20,000 cheaper, they would not have been able to build enough of those cars. When I very first drove it, it is a fantastic car at $20,000 less than where it started at. If they had priced it, and I said the night prior to me getting the information of how much that car was going to cost, I guessed that car was going to slot right in where the Grand Sport ended up slotting in. It was going to be right around $85,000 to $88,000. That's where it should have been. And if it had been there would have been no reason for the Grand Sport. There would have been no reason for the Grand Sport X. I bet you neither one of those two cars would have ever existed because the E-Ray would have filled in that slot perfectly and no one would have complained about it. No one would have cared that it wasn't marketed correctly because it cost only at the time 15 grand more than a Stingray, and it was the looks of a Z06, almost the speed of a Z06, and was softer for more daily driving, and you could drive it year round, even if you lived in a snowy area. Like that car they wouldn't have been able to make enough of them. 20K is going to be tough with standard carbon ceramic rotors. I get it, but that's where that car should have been priced, 100%. Kevin says, that's good. He says, I think in 3 years, HTC will stand for hard to close. I like that. Okay, guys, we got 165 people in here watching, 120 thumbs ups. Let's keep going with the thumbs up. No more entries on the Scrape Armor Grill Guards. If you guys want to get these things cheaper than you can anywhere else, This is the place to do it. So get your entries in now. I'm going to run this wheel 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes to get these entries in. I'm going to put the names on a wheel, and we're going to give away the last set tonight. Yeah, that's the thing. So Bill says to make the $85,000 Stingray up to the power and ability of a Z06 at $125,000, you're going to easily put $40,000 into the Stingray, and you're still not going to have the capabilities of the Z06. Perfect. Bill gets it. And this is the thing. You can always take a car and build it to the point where it will decimate the car that's built above it in raw power. But there's always things people miss. Brakes aren't the same. Suspension isn't the same. Aerodynamics might not be the same. These things matter. So yeah, you might be making more horsepower than a Z06, but you don't have a better car. And this is the big point here. When the Z06 came out, it improved on the Stingray car so much that it was hard to ignore. There's a reason why the Z06s were so hard to get for so long. Better suspension, wider body, better aerodynamics, better engine, more built for the track. Everything about the car looked better, sounded better, and drove better. That's why people were flocking to that thing. Will the Corvette SUV ever come out? I still keep hearing rumors about this, and I do think we're going to get that eventually. And when it comes, I just hope they do it right. That's what I'll tell you. If I had to put money on it right now, I will tell you, I think we are going to get one. When? No clue. But when it comes, they need to do it right. Engineer Insanity says, why would a ZR1 need scrape armor if they just sit in the garage? Well, if I had a C8 ZR1, it would not sit in the garage. Even my C7 ZR1 doesn't just sit in the garage. All right, we got 180 people watching, guys. 126 thumbs ups. Let's keep going with the thumbs ups. It's a light regarding only the convertible top. It has nothing to do with the engine. There was a YouTuber that had a problem with both of the hardtop convertibles he bought. It happens when it's warm, he said. I have not heard that, actually. I know Bill has a convertible, and I don't know that he's ever had any issues. It's a great point, Kevin. I like it. Thanks for keeping me on track here. The OTA update. Oh, and for those of you who don't know, OTA means over the air. So this is an update for your 25s your 26s and 27s only. So if you have a 2026 or a 2027, anything, there's an over the air update that is going to apply to your car. And it's interesting, I guess we'll say, because it's not really that big of a deal, but what it's going to do for you is it's going to give you the new Google Assistant, which will now be standard for all models. So yeah, it's basically Gemini, I think. Yeah, Google Gemini. It's going to be available via an over-the-air update through the vehicle's infotainment system. Now, this is interesting to some degree because I do like when car manufacturers support these kind of things, because obviously the car did not come with Gemini, but now you will get it. So when they add features like this to the car for free, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to see that. So any of you guys out there who have a 2026, whether it's a Stingray, E-Ray, Z06, ZR1, ZR1X, it doesn't matter. You're going to get this over-the-air update, and that's pretty cool. I like that. So, yeah. Yeah, OTA is what it stands for, over the air. C701 is the Batman car. Yeah, I hear that a lot. And honestly, if you guys have never seen a C701 ZTK package, if you look at the wing from the top, the way it's shaped, it's shaped exactly like the Batman symbol. Like, there's no way GM did that and didn't realize that they were doing it. So, like, it's definitely a Batman thing. YNV is in for $50, so he's going to get 10 entries. I'm getting you in there now. YNV for 10 entries. Awesome. So what do we got here then? Do we have any other entries? That's the only one for now. Is 2027 getting rid of Android Auto and CarPlay? So we have heard this now for a while, guys. And as far as I know, 2027 is not deleting those features yet. But that is something that's coming down the pipeline. So don't be surprised when 1 year just randomly they remove that. And I'll be honest, if they do, that would be the first year I'm not interested in that car. And that really sucks, because if they're going to remove something like that, and that totally defeats the purpose of these kind of cars for me, that sucks. That would be so stupid for GM to do, but they keep talking about how it's the greatest thing for us. Because now we can use their better system. I don't want to use your system, even if it is better, which I highly doubt it is. We're going to have to pay for everything. We're going to have to sit there and wait through horrible load times. And even if we'll say it's lightning fast and it is really good, let's just, play devil's advocate here for a minute. It's everything you want. The reason for CarPlay for me is because I can go from my Z06 to my ZR1 to my TRX to my wife's Lyric and have the exact same setup on every one of them. That's beautiful. That's a thing of beauty. That's why we want this. It's not because we don't necessarily want to use your unit, which that is part of it too, but I want uniformity across these vehicles, and you can't get that if you own a Chevy and a Dodge and whatever else. CarPlay is the way to do it. Hopefully they're listening to this, because that's 100% it. It's uniformity. All my music is right there. Everything that I need is on my phone already. So why not just put it on the infotainment system? All my addresses are already programmed in there. Why do I have to program them in your unit instead? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, removing Apple CarPlay would be like dropping a 2-liter engine into the vet. It doesn't make sense. Bring back CDs. Yeah. What's up, General? How are you doing, man? Always good to see you in here. Hopefully you're feeling better. And I would do the same thing. Anthony George says that he would actually pay a one-time fee to keep CarPlay if they want to do that, because their fee, somebody actually said in here once what the fee was. It was like $40. They have to pay Apple $40. I don't pass that on to me. I'll pay the $40 fee. And if I don't pay it, I don't get a car with Apple CarPlay. I'm fine with that. I will pay the fee. Give me the ability to pay the fee, but they're not going to, because it really doesn't have anything to do with that fee. They want to force you into their little ecosystem, so you have to pay for everything, and I don't want to do that. Yeah, it's also nice to be able to find stuff on your Google Maps on your phone, and you just have to connect it to the car rather than having to type it all in and everything. It's a billion times easier to have all of it right on your phone that you use basically 24 hours a day. All your information is already there. Why not just have the ability to put that up on the infotainment system? Amen. Apple CarPlay all the way. Why doesn't front lift sense on its own when it should raise? That could actually be a thing in the future, where the technology is already there for MagRide, where it adjusts like 1,000 times a second or something based on the concrete or the asphalt of the road. All they got to do is just put that technology into the front lift and have it have some sort of camera system where it can see any kind of large objects and have it automatically raise. I would not be surprised if that's something that happens in the C9. I do not know anybody personally who has a Stars and Stripes ZR1, but I did just see one at a car show the other day. It was a black one, and it was pretty freaking awesome looking. Yeah, Ricky said, I noticed the 26 Equinox added Apple Music on, but my 25 E-Ray didn't. So the Apple Music thing is their first step into deleting CarPlay, because they think that the only reason people want Apple CarPlay is for Apple Music. That's not the only reason. That is a big reason for me, but that's not the only reason. Tom says, FYI, Apple does not charge a royalty fee to any OEM manufacturer. I have heard that they do. Now, that might be only some manufacturers. It might only be one or two of them, or it might not even be true, but I have heard it. So even if it is true, it was something low like a $40 fee. That's not big enough to not just pass on to the customer. And I'm sure they have times 10. However, if there is no fee, then I understand this even less. Auto front lip raise would not help at all at over 100 miles an hour, and that's very true too. There ain't enough sensing in the world for NYC potholes. I can believe that. All right, so guys, we got 131 likes, 150 people in here watching. That's pretty close. Can they make the Stingray a wide body? Yes, they already did. It's called a Grand Sport. So the Grand Sport is literally exactly what you're looking for. It is a wide body Stingray. Okay. Tom says aftermarket, they do charge. OEM, they don't. Friend is high up in Apple. Okay. Then I'll be honest, if that's the case, I understand why they would cut out Apple CarPlay. I understand that even less. It makes even less sense if they're not being charged for it. Kevin Oran says that he saw an E-Ray and a Z06 Stars and Stripes yesterday at a car show. Nice. I see, to me, I wouldn't pay the extra money for that because it's basically just a sticker package, but it is a cool sticker package. That's probably one of the nicest sticker packages I've ever seen GM make. That's it right there. Hot Rod Todd, he says maybe it's not about fees and it's more about GM getting subscription kickbacks. They're going to charge for everything. That's the thing. They're getting, you're going to have to pay subscriptions for, I mean, the big one that GM's always done is their navigation maps. You have to pay to update those. Even though your car would have Google built in or whatever, Google Maps built in, somehow they'll charge you a subscription for that. And I don't want to pay for stuff I already have available on my phone. Yeah, besides the Stingray, all the variants look identical with the wide body. That was another mistake GM made. The ZR1 should have looked different than the Z06. The E-Ray should have looked different than the Z06. The Grand Sport X should have looked different. They all should have had at least, if nothing else, at least a different front bumper. If not, a different front and rear. And also a different side intake. That's really what they should have done. But if cost is really the driving factor here, which I know it is, they should have at least had a different front bumper. So let's see, what else do we have here? Oh yeah. So if you guys, since we're kind of talking about this anyway, if you haven't seen this yet, the EPA numbers are out for the fuel economy on the 6.7-liter 2027 Corvette Stingray. Now, they were just recently announced for the Grand Sport, and now they're out for the Stingray, and they're not bad. So, city 16 miles per gallon on the LT2, it's now 15. It went down 1 mile per gallon. Highways 25 on the 6.2, still 25 for the 6.7. Combined is 19 for the 6.2, and it's 18 for the 6.7. So really not much of a difference, and you're getting basically 40 more horsepower and a substantially more stout engine with, more fuel injection with direct injection and port injection. You're also getting a better oil pump. You're getting more horsepower. You're getting a bigger throttle body for more air. I mean, all this stuff, and you lost 1 mile per gallon. GM, I will give them that. They have always been good at making a really high performance, high horsepower engine and basically squeezing every last drop of fuel efficiency out of it. I mean, my C7 ZR1 on the way home, when I bought that in Virginia, on the way home, I averaged, I think it was 23 miles per gallon on the highway. I'm sorry, no, it's 26 miles per gallon on the highway. And that was pretty impressive for a car with 755 horsepower and a gigantic wing in the back. So GM really knows how to squeeze the fuel efficiency out of these engines, and that's pretty cool. Did I say LS7? I might have said that. I'm sorry, somebody did. There is no official news on the Z06X. We talked a good bit about it in this video or in this live, and I didn't really plan on it, but it comes up a lot. GM engineers at the bash claimed it would be better. I guess that was hopeful thinking. Yeah, I mean, it's still close. If all they lost was 1 mile per gallon, that's pretty good. All right, guys. No more entries for the scrape armor, so I'm going to kind of call it on that. I'm going to start putting these names into the Wheel of Fortune. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 entries tonight, guys. So pretty cool. But I'm going to start putting these names in now, so just bear with me here. And let's see. Kevin Horan is in for 10. Sean, 3. Mark is leading the pack. 3. 70. Kevin Reynolds is up there too. 15. And 20. 3 and 10. All right. So we're going to go ahead and do a little spin on this wheel here. Yeah, forged internals. Professor Corvette says, how does Onyx like the new house? You hear him in the background barking, and that's because every now and then I tap on this kitchen or the dining room table that I'm sitting at, and he thinks someone's knocking at the door. But he's laying on the right under the kitchen table with me here. Seems like he's right at home. Joey Cuts, I love it. He says to shuffle it 3 times. We're not even going to mess around with asking. Joey's right to the point. That's why I like you, man. Yeah, the dual injection probably didn't help with gas mileage. That's really more so there for 2 reasons that I can think of. One is fuel, and 2 is to keep that motor even cleaner over the period of time. Okay, so let's go ahead and spin this wheel. Joey already told me to shuffle it 3 times, so that's what we're going to do. Here's the wheel, and here's the shuffling. We got 1, 2, and 3. That was a perfect amount because then it put the 2 big heavy hitters on each side. So here we go, guys. If you're in to win the scrape armor guards, keep an eye on this. Here we go. All right, so Kevin takes it with his 70. He has 70 entries. All right, congratulations, Kevin. You know what to do. Shoot me an email with your shipping address and everything. I know I already have it, but it just helps me keep track of everything. So send me that email or text message. I know you have my number. And I will get that information over to Scrape Armor, and they will send you your winnings. Now, I know they have not sent any of these out yet, guys. So even the guy that won 2 weeks ago, he hasn't got his yet, but I know they are working on sending them right now. So you will be getting them. Don't worry. I'll make sure that happens. But congratulations, Kevin. Just send me a text with your shipping info and which set of grill guards you want, and we'll get you set up. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate you tuning in tonight. I really appreciate the support as always. Stay tuned for some future videos. Like I said, I'll be doing, I have the garage video ready to go here real soon that you guys are going to be able to see where we're starting. So kind of the blank canvas, so to speak. But anyway, guys, smash the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And as always, stay obsessed. We'll see you same time, same place next Monday night.